Hey everyone, my name's Sean. I am one half of Pocket Pulp. We are releasing a new game, Inky in the Alien Aquarium. In this video, I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of the tutorial area and then a little bit of level 1. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing you'll notice if you start up the game on your computer is that it should show default keyboard controls. You can change these in your preferences, but it's important to keep in mind that this is a game for the Game Boy Advance, so the keyboard will map to these buttons. Mostly you'll be using the arrow keys and backspace to reset, but you'll be using Z and X to navigate menus and enter to pause the game. But yeah, let's continue. Here's the title screen where Inky is getting abducted. Let's go into options real quick. You can change the light, you can change, this is just brightness. You can change the volume of the music and the sound effects. You can choose to show or skip cutscenes. The last option is the save type. So you should leave this on whatever the default is, but you do have the option of switching it over to passwords. So this is if you bought the physical game and you've had it sitting on your shelf for 10 years, eventually the saves stop working, so switching this over to password allows you to still play the game and progress over time. Anyways, you can do the credits if you want, but let's just jump into the game. If I hit start, I can just go right into a new game, and I'm gonna shut up while the intro cutscene plays. And that's it. So this is Inky, that's who you are. You control Inky with your arrow keys. And you can see you kind of walk on a grid. Now, for this video, I'm going to go through the tutorial area, and then I'm gonna give you a warning that after that, I don't want to spoil puzzles for people who want to experience the game themselves, but for those that maybe are curious or want some tips, I'm gonna keep going a little bit into level 1. So the first thing you'll notice is Inky can go over these metal grates, but Inky can't go, this is coral here, and Inky can't cross the coral. The only real direction to go is left here, so let's just keep going. These first objects that you run into are crystal spheres. These can be pushed either horizontally or vertically. Importantly, they can't be pushed over the metal grates, right? So I'm trying my best, but it can't go any further. And let's just continue. The next thing you'll see are crystal cylinders. So cylinders are different in that they can only move in one direction based on their orientation. So these ones can move horizontally, but they can't move vertically. If I try to push them vertically, it doesn't work. Let me go back up. Another thing to notice real quick is that if you double up the spheres or cylinders, then you can't push them at all. It's too heavy for Inky. So Inky can only push one object at a time. But let's continue. You can see there's a door over here. I can't open this door, unfortunately. If I continue, this screen is teaching you about how holes work. So I can't fall into this big hole here. No matter how hard I try. However, if I push the sphere into the hole, you can see it drops in and it sort of creates a little bridge, and we can cross over that. So this sphere is trying to teach you that you cannot pass objects between screens. And then I'm just gonna keep going here. This cylinder I can push in one direction, which will fall into the hole here, creating a bridge. But now that allows me to push this cylinder up so that I can go here. This allows me to continue on. So one thing I want you to notice is that if you come back to a previous screen, it resets. So you can see all the objects have reset back to where they were. You can go backwards if you want. In fact, most of the game is designed so that you can go forwards or backwards so that you can navigate the map freely how you choose. Another way to reset the screen is by hitting backspace or the select button on your Game Boy Advance. So if I were to hit backspace right now on my keyboard, it teleports me back to wherever I entered the screen from, and it resets all the objects. So let's solve it real quick. This screen is kind of more of the same, but it just forces you to learn that this cylinder can only be pushed up into the hole, making a bridge, and then you sort of have to escort this sphere through the grate, again teaching you that you can't push the sphere or any object onto the grates. That creates a bridge which allows you to move up. And so you've sort of probably noticed a theme by now where the goal of the game is really to move screen by screen, and sort of one tip is to sort of look at where the exits are on a screen and then pick an exit to go for and see if you can solve for that exit, so that you can sort of explore the entire Alien Mothership. This is the last screen of the tutorial. I'm going to just do the solution, so hopefully you can sort of think through it if you want to look at it. But basically the idea is we want to position that sphere at the top, and then move these cylinders out of the way so that we can push the cylinder here. That allows us to approach this sphere from the left side, which means we can now push and make a bridge here. And you can see we have a collectible at the upper right. That's an aquarium with a sea creature inside. So when we collect the sea creature, we get a cute little animation, and it shows us which creature we collected. We collected the starfish. And if I hit enter again, I can pause and sort of navigate over, and I can see the starfish. So you can tell that there are 15 sea creatures scattered throughout the game, and you should try and collect them all. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, so that's the end of the tutorial area. This is the very beginning of level 1. So if you don't want any spoilers, that's enough information to get you started, but I'm gonna sort of solve a couple more puzzles and talk through sort of how I think about the puzzles, to give you more tips, whether you maybe you're just curious or maybe you're stuck. So that'll, if you're interested in that, keep watching. So the first thing we have to do is to get out of this corner up here. How you can do that is by pushing this sphere into the hole, and now we can come under here, and if you push this one up, you can push this one over now, which creates another pathway. Again, your strategy whenever you come into a new room should be, let's look at the different exits. I see an exit to the right, so let's just explore that real quickly. So on this screen, I cannot pass through this grass. You can tell I just bump up against it. The other exit that I see is the one up top, but once I go into this area, you see I've sort of become captured by the aliens. These pistons have gone up and trapped me in here, so the only way out is to hit backspace in order to reset. So I can't go forward from this direction, so I need to find another way. You can see there's a key card here, so let's try and collect that. There's a hole in the way, so if I can get an object in this hole, then I can collect the key card. One tip is to sort of look at where the cylinders are placed, because they can usually only go in one direction. So I'm just going to sort of clear those out of the way. Maybe we'll push this one up here, I don't know. And now we need to think through how to get a sphere into that hole. So here's one way you could do it. If I push this sphere here, if I could push it down, I could get it in the hole. Well, I can do that if I come around and push the cylinder there. Now I can push the sphere down, and now I can collect the key card. So now I have the key card. It shows a little tutorial on how the key card works. Basically, you can just open the locked door now. This coral is just solid. You can't pass through it. It's just decorative. But anyways, let's pass through the door. Now we can go down, and we have this new area. So again, if we want to strategize, the most obvious exit is going to be the bottom. There are 2 exits on the bottom. The bottom right, you'll see we can't get to. The one on the right, we also can't get to. So really the only exit for us is on the bottom, directly below us. So we have to solve this puzzle. One way to think about it is we have a hole in front of us. So if we could somehow get a sphere out of this area, we could create a bridge and cross down. So there are multiple solutions to this puzzle, and a lot of puzzles have multiple solutions. I'm going to show you both real quick. So here's one. This was the original intended solution. If I slot that one in there, I can pull the sphere out, and now I can cross this way. If I reset, the objects reset, and I teleport back to the beginning. Here's the other solution. I can push this one down. Now, if I do this, I can sort of get this other sphere out of the way, and that gives me access to this sphere. And now I can push this over and out. So now that we're down here, just as another reminder, you might have thought, hey, why don't you go to the right here? Well, that, again, the metal grates, you can't put objects on metal grates. So that's an important idea. And you can see that I can't go right from here, but I can go down. So if I try and solve this top area, there's really not a whole lot to do. I can push the sphere into the hole, but now I can't push the cylinder anywhere because the metal grate's in the way. So really the next step is to figure out a way to get through this little mess of spheres here. I'm just going to solve it. It's fun to solve yourself. I really encourage everyone to do it themselves, but you know, this is a walkthrough, so I'm gonna end up showing you how you solve them anyways. One thing to notice is observe, you know, pay attention to the pathways that exist on the map. There's not just one path a lot of times. So this secondary path, if we sort of trace it back over to here, we can see that if I can somehow get into this back area by pushing those cylinders, then I can arrive on this screen from this direction, which gives me access to this sphere. Now I can use this sphere and this cylinder to start to make a bridge. If I could somehow get this third sphere into this hole, then I could go up from there. Really the only way to do that is to solve this puzzle backwards. So again, the game is designed so that you can navigate the map in a lot of different ways. If you think through things, you'll probably be able to solve it that way. But anyways, now we can come up through here, and this allows us to get into this area that we saw before. This has the mystery sludge. So one thing to notice, it's not important in the beginning, but as the levels get harder, you'll need to notice. The mystery sludge, usually you can't walk over it, but when it's passing over a metal grate, you can walk over it. So I can walk over this mystery sludge right here, but I can't walk over it here because there's not a metal grate underneath it. So I could collect this sea creature right now. I'm gonna save that for y'all when you play. I don't want to spoil any more than I have to. If I go back this way, you'll see that I'm stuck because all the objects have been reset. There's really nothing I can do here. So thankfully, you can go out this way, right? That doesn't mean you have to solve the puzzle again, but it's okay. You get used to them. The puzzles are pretty tiny, so you can, you learn how they operate and you can kind of zip through them when you get used to it. So let's solve this puzzle real quick. One thing to notice, and this is kind of the same tip I gave before, look at the cylinders. Usually they can only go in basically one direction, and look at where we're trying to go. We're trying to go to the right side of the screen right now. So really what's standing in my way, I can't push this cylinder, but if I could fill these holes here, then I could get across. So if you take the time to think through it, this is pretty much the only way to do it. If we do it this way, now the cylinders are all in their own holes, and now I can push the sphere over there. Again, the sphere can't go over the grate, so I have to sort of navigate it around, but then I can get through. This puzzle's pretty challenging. So the first thing to notice is, where do we want to go? Well, if we could get a sphere into this hole, then we could go to the right. So there's only the one sphere, so somehow we need to get this sphere into that hole because I can't pass through the grass. So sometimes objects are just in your way. So what I would suggest is moving these two just out of the way. These two cylinders, you can't push them vertically, so they're really just stuck here. They're basically the equivalent of a wall. And now let's see if we can get this sphere over here. So if I kind of snake it around, and then if I push it right here, I can't access it, but now I can go around, and now I can access it, and that allows me to push it in the hole. I could push this cylinder in the hole, I could push this sphere in the hole. Unfortunately, I can't go up or down, but I can continue to the right. This puzzle is sort of designed to do classic misdirection. So after you mess around with it for a minute or so, you realize you kind of have to get into this rhythm of pushing the spheres in the holes. But when you do that, you realize, like it like runs out. It doesn't work anymore. So the trick is to start with that rhythm, but then you have to stop yourself. And now you have to do a different strategy. By pushing those two up, we can pass this way. This screen has a lot going on. Really, most of this is going to be accessed later on, but you can mess around with it from this direction if you want to. There's a laser in the upper right. You'll come through there much later in the game, but you can't do anything here right now. But if you're curious, when you play the game, you could play around with it a little bit. But let's continue. Let's go get that map. And this puzzle is just like the previous one. It's kind of in the same spirit. If you get in this little groove, you end up blocking yourself, and now you can't get out. Now you can go backwards, but that doesn't really get you anything. You want to exit at the bottom right, or the bottom left, excuse me. So let's reset and do this again, but let's sort of break our habit and then go this way. Now we can come in through here. Now we have access to the map. So let's collect the map. We get a nice little animation, and then there's the map on the pause screen. And now we're back to playing again. So I can continue up if I wanted to, but let's check out the map real quick. So if I hit enter, that pauses the game. I can navigate over to the map and hit the A button, which is mapped to the X key on your keyboard. When I hit that, now we can see this is the full map of the alien spaceship, minus the tutorial area. So you can see that where I am is the white rectangle. That's the screen that I'm on. And then the blinking dots are all the collectibles. So if you remember at the very beginning, there was the sword, that's blinking there. And then there was the two aquariums on the left, those are blinking. And then there was the one aquarium on the far right that's blinking. But that's how the map, as you navigate, obviously the map will reveal itself. And you can sort of strategize and figure out which direction you need to come from to get different collectibles. But I'm gonna call it there. So I don't wanna spoil any further. I showed you how to get the map. That should get you going. You should be ready to go. You should be able to solve everything else. I have total faith in you. But one last little plug is we are launching a Kickstarter, so we would love if you supported us on Kickstarter. If you're watching this video far in the future, maybe, hopefully, the Kickstarter was successful. And if that's the case, then you should be able to buy the game on our website, www.pulp.biz. And obviously there will be links to everything in the description. So thanks for watching, and like I said, follow us on Kickstarter, and we'll see you later.